Although there are almost 350 million Americans, there are really only two political parties, and despite what the name would imply, neither one's very fun at all. This political division means you don't get any nuance in policy, and instead you either vote on which person you hate the least, or just pick one or two things you absolutely don't want someone to mess up, and then you compromise anyway. While most people are not too familiar with the political compass, they have heard the term left and right. You might have seen a spectrum like this in civics class, and they taught you some vague theory about reactionaries versus radicals, or social reform versus conservatism. But this is pretty meaningless to most people. In reality, when someone asks if you're on the left or right in America, what they want to know is how many digits of the pride flag you've memorized. Even the most far left and far right extremes have more in common than you might think. For example, they both share the same common weakness: follow-up questions. Take people on the far left, they all make the same mistake, which is waking up one day, doing absolutely no research, and then thinking there's no way that Ben Shapiro will have heard this one before. Similarly, if you take someone on the far right who says,
"Can I say something? Ben Shapiro is getting turned on." I think there's a shift towards being more conspiratorial. Yeah, he's getting turned on sexually. I don't know. I had a more of an impression of Ben Shapiro as like kind of rock solid within the Republican base. But my understanding is that he's getting he's not getting turned on. He's getting they think he's like a plant. He's a rhino. They're turning on him. He's turned against. He might be getting turned on. I can't speak to whether or not Ben Shapiro is getting sexually aroused. I don't know that. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he isn't. I'm saying whether or not rock hard Ben Shapiro is being turned against by people who share, I thought, similar beliefs. Maybe he has a shame king.
says, "I believe that white people are superior to the other races." The obvious follow-up is asking if this is their sample group. The reality is that just left or right doesn't capture the full nuance of someone's political beliefs. If you're a fiscal conservative who believes that government debt represents an inability to provide future public programs, the left lumps you in with the people who stormed the Capitol. If you're a liberal who believes that investment into nuclear is the future of clean energy, the right lumps you in with the people who think that the hard counter to fracking is a heartfelt land acknowledgement.
Neither of those has been my experience. Well, let me think. Because I have both of those beliefs. Not to say I haven't been misjudged for those beliefs, but I do think I take a big issue with the phrasing of the word fiscal conservative. The word conservative shouldn't be in there because every time I've seen a conservative get into power, they blow out the deficit since Reagan. So it's not a good name for it. But, at the same time, I mean, Joe Biden's deficits were fucking absurd. So there's a different word. I don't know what the word is, but it's something I deeply support that I think it's literally just lost from politics. I think it's just lost from politics. I think we're in an era where the idea of cutting anything is abhorrent to both sides. Yeah, fiscally responsible, maybe, whatever it is. Doge's cutting. I mean, please just take a look at how much Doge's cut and then about the new tax cuts, which are way, way more, and what the deficit's going to be. The deficit's blowing out. The deficit is getting its back blown out right now, and it was already bad. So it's just, there's nobody serious about it. That's why Shapiro's so turned on. And then for nuclear, I think nuclear is actually getting pretty popular among a lot of people on either side of what you might call the aisle. The thing with nuclear is that it is the only green energy that both sides can agree on. The leftmost might say we want nuclear plus wind and solar, and the rightmost might say we want nuclear plus, I don't know, oil and gas, but they can both get agree on nuclear, which means there's more likely of getting it built. This is about this country, not any other country, not Germany. I'm talking about America. No, I do fucking love clean coal. Where's the square for just pure clean coal? Because that's what I fucking want. Z-axis. Yeah, there should be a Z-axis coming towards the screen for the actually enlightened clean coal thinker. That's what I want, dude. The enlightened Australian and the enlightened clean coal Atrioc. What is clean coal? Simple minds don't know. Clean coal is coal if you really think about how clean it is. Oh, pre-watched? Oh, no. Please don't tell me he makes a clean coal joke. I'm going to feel really undercut.
Political compass introduces a bit more nuance because while you still have a left and right, you can flesh out what you believe about both economic and social policy, and more importantly, see how your beliefs relate to other people's. To give the theme, as you move up the compass, you prefer big government. As you move down, you prefer small or less government. And as you move left, you prefer equal redistribution of resources. And to the right, you prefer to let free markets allocate resources unimpeded. So let's look at each quadrant's highest value first, so you can see which one you most relate to and the pros and cons of each. Authoritarian right's highest value is virtue. Pros: everyone can pursue their own ideals. Cons: me and my homies will determine what they are. Authoritarian left is equality. Pros: everyone shares equally in all the stuff. Cons: there is no stuff. Libertarian left is compassion. Pros: what's mine is yours, what's yours is mine, and we can all love each other.
Okay.
Cons: you hate your wife's boyfriend. Libertarian right is freedom. Pros: the rich get insanely rich, the poor just die. Cons: lastly, the centrist highest value is of course A5 Wagyu.
Yes!
Pros: all that matters to him are beef and gas prices. Cons: his whole world is currently in shambles. In brief, auth right is if it ain't broke for me, don't fix it. Lib left is friendly, horny, and broke. Lib right is temporarily embarrassed millionaires. And auth left is everything would finally be perfect if we just got rid of that one fucked up Jenga block right at the bottom. By using the quadrants, it lets us see there's a lot more nuance to someone's political opinion than just left or right. For example, to someone on the right, everyone on the left seems the same. But libertarian left will say, you know, communism sounds really nice. Everyone living as equals with each other, working together in harmony with the environment. I guess it just seems that while the theory is good, the execution has been really bad. Then authoritarian left would say, yeah, but often necessary. Similarly, to people on the left, the right seems all the same, but auth-right will say, you know, I get that people are different and can choose to live how they want to. It's just the values of my culture are dying and all this chaos is taking over. If people just embraced how things were before, they see it just works better than this. And lib-right would say, you're so right, baby. Just unlock this video and it'll help cheer you up. The authoritarian side of the compass also gets the libertarian side confused all the time, mistaking both quadrants as woke. But see if you can catch the subtle difference. Lib-left says, I treat people nicely because they're human just like me with their own personality and preferences. Makes me sad that some people hate other people just because they don't act or look the way they think they should. Whereas lib-right just says, yep, customer's always right. The libertarian side also confuses the authoritarian side. Both want to have top-down control of how things are run and how people behave, but auth-right is much more straightforward. If they don't like what you're doing, they're going to hit you with a stick. If auth-left doesn't like what you're doing, they're going to convince everyone else that you have a stick. In contrast, if lib-left's life isn't going so well, they just adapt, complain, download Hinge, and wait for an inheritance. Whereas if lib-right's life isn't going so well, they say, no, there is a way to fight the system. Which is of course the nasal strip, buying an online marketing course, and becoming a men's motivational speaker. Because an individual's beliefs radically shape how they relate to others.
As a user of nasal strips, I resent the application that I'm Andrew Tate. As a user of nasal strips, which I think people of any creed, color, or belief could enjoy. They open up the nasal passages so you can sleep better. My sleep score has improved 10% since using nasal strips.
Other people, another way of understanding the compass is through how each views their ideal romantic relationship.
And I can tell you about how to use them in my brand new course. Guys, I know that there's been a lot of grifter courses out of there, but really this one is different. This one is called the nasal strip theory. 100 ways to use the nasal strip to get to success. How changing your life and sleep can change your attitude in both the bedroom and the office. Fuck, it sounds too sexual. I'm like amalgamating titles, but it's coming in poorly. I sincerely do recommend nasal strips, especially if you. Okay, here's what I want you right now. I want you to stop and do a big deep breath through your nose. Oh, I can't get it. If you have any, if it's not a full deep breath, you need a nasal strip. That's the fact. If you don't get a full deep breath with all the air rushing through, then you need a nasal strip. You'll sleep way better. Ain't no way I'm using that cuck bullshit. Nasal strip sounds too much like anal strips. Okay, all right, you shouldn't use it. I don't want you to have them in your house. No, it's not. I don't know what a fucking anal strip is, but I don't. It shouldn't go anywhere near your asshole. It should be right here. It's like a sticker that just constantly pulls apart. Feel that? Deep breath. It's awesome. Why can't you just do that? Why can't I sit in bed with 2 thumbs in my nose, spreading it apart? I don't know. I never thought about that.
Compared to how their relationships actually play out in reality. Auth-Right's ideal relationship is the classic nuclear family. Nice house just outside of town, stay-at-home wife, good job, couple of kids, and a dog. The relationship Auth-Right actually gets is their 3rd failing marriage and 4th pair of tack glasses. Or they're a virgin in their early 20s with an anime girl as their ex-profile, and their main hobby is using AI to generate anthropomorphic female fighter jets. In either case, they plan to fix their life with a one-way plane ticket to Thailand and become each other's customer. Auth-Left's ideal relationship is with Hassan Piker. The relationship Auth-Left actually gets is with Hassan Piker's chair. Live-Left's ideal relationship is an open marriage in a humble off-grid cottage near a scenic mountainside where they grow their own food and make their own clothes for a small, like-minded
Sounds great.
community.
I wonder what it costs.
This doesn't happen because Lib-Left doesn't have the millions of dollars it requires for a Hollywood aesthetic hobby farm. Lib-Right's ideal relationship is being an 85-year-old billionaire with an harem of Instagram baddies on his mega yacht in Dubai. Haters will criticize such a transactional relationship, but while Lib-Right knows that girls only like him for his money, he knows they love him for his terminal heart condition. The next thing you might be wondering is what about the intersections between the quadrants? This is pretty simple because it's usually where the rubber actually meets the road in real life. In Western countries, Lib-Left cares about the environment, while Auth-Left likes federal laws forcing you to care about the environment. Center-Left is what happens when you're on your 3rd wadded-up paper straw at the movie theater, and you realize that maybe some sea turtles need to die so you can live. Well, you might be thinking, okay, I'm sort of getting this compass thing. We are, of course, just scratching the surface, because a 2-dimensional compass isn't enough to capture the full nuance of a quadrant's views, and you have to introduce the 3rd dimension, which is if you're technologically progressive or regressive. For example, the bottom center on the compass is classically libertarian, believes in self-reliance, saving money, hard currency, survivalism, and only trusts non-mainstream media like Joe Rogan and the Kremlin. If you take this political view and make it technologically progressive, you end up with a
You said Atrioc coded because there's gold in it. Be honest. You said Atrioc. I don't fucking watch Joe Rogan. You said Atrioc coded because you saw gold. Okay? They don't get a monopoly on gold just because it's in this video. They don't get to fucking monopolize gold. I'm not a gold bug. I don't have gold buried in the backyard. I made a smart decision, I think, to diversify into hard assets that has paid off thus far. Okay? Now, did I learn about it from a gold ad during Joe Rogan? Possibly. Who's asking? Did I buy a Joe Rogan branded shovel and dig a small hole in my backyard to put gold in? Sure.
Narco-transhumanism, the belief that man will merge with machine and transcend to a higher form of life. Exactly. This is the Japanese trying to cope. If you take the same intersection and make it technologically regressive, you get a narco-primitivism, or return to monk, which is the sentiment, humans just aren't living how we're supposed to, man. While this is a bit of a self-report, when anyone actually describes fishing, hunting, gathering, and doing arts and crafts in a tribe, they think they're describing how life was as a caveman, but they're actually just describing camping. Figuring out where to put yourself on the compass can still be difficult, because even 3 dimensions is not enough to capture the complexity of beliefs the human mind is capable of, which is why we must ascend further to include your capacity to change your beliefs over time to avoid ever thinking you're wrong. Which means we have to go beyond the political polyhedron to the obvious next step. The political tesseract.
Now we're talking.
This political tesseract cannot be pinned down to a single belief, as it's always in a quantum superposition of both support and rejection of any conceivable opinion until someone you don't like expresses their point of view and you're forced to disagree. For this reason, it's important to know the point of view of each quadrant for all the most talked about political questions so you can start filling up your debate repertoire. For example, if you asked each quadrant, should we have more gun control? Auth-Right says no, Auth-Left says yes, Lib-Left says yes, and Lib-Right says yes, I should have more control of guns. How would you fix the economy? Auth-Left would raise taxes, Auth-Right would cut expenses, Lib-Left would unionize, and Lib-Right would say to another Lib-Right, here's $100, slap me. Oh, fuck. Okay, give it back and I'll kick you in the balls. And everyone else would be like, holy shit, they just increased GDP by $200. Pro-choice or pro-life? Auth-Right says pro-life, Lib-Left says pro-choice, Lib-Right says on-site, and Auth-Left is checking their quotas. When should someone be able to do hormone replacement therapy? Auth-Left. Anyone with approval from a medical authority can go on hormone replacement therapy at any time. Auth right. Kids shouldn't be allowed to do HRT. Lib left. I just don't want kids going through puberty knowing they wanted the body of a different gender. Lib right. I just don't want kids going through puberty.
Put them in the mines.
What do you think about free speech? Lib right says no one should be punished for voicing their opinion. Lib left's community note points out how other people treat you for your opinion is part of their freedom of speech. Auth right revokes your blue checkmark for violating their terms of service, and Auth left has taken down your post for spreading harmful misinformation. The centrist then walks into the room and says, You better take your medication, Elon. You're arguing with yourself again. You might look at the political compass and think, man, it's crazy that people believe in so many...
I like that Guy Fieri's in the middle. The great uniter. Everyone can agree that Guy Fieri has some good points. Will save us. I do think the Avatar... That is what we deserve as America, I think, is Guy Fieri as president. We should just say fuck it to all political questions. We should just stop trying to make our lives better or do anything. Just say fuck it and then just watch our president go on some diners, drive-ins, and dives. You know what I'm saying? We all just go, we try to make Flavor Town or something. Diners, drive-ins, and democracy.
These stupid ideologies, when there's really only one that's actually correct. Which is why before you wage war in the comment section, you need to know the ultimate trap card of each quadrant to make sure you don't fall into an unwinnable argument and instead probe their weakness to appear more correct. Lib left's trap card is the moral high ground. Their weakness is, how's your relationship with your parents? Auth left's trap card is pretending to be lib left. Their weakness is trigger words, like America is a decent country, or Mazel Tov. Lib right's trap card is the success of free market capitalism. Their weakness is how much tax have you paid in capital gains. Auth right's trap card is their collection of cherry-picked crime statistics. Their weakness is undermining their credibility with questions like dinosaurs. Were they real or just the shape of nuggets? This scares Auth right because they know what you're going to ask the shape of next. Alright, you should be well prepared to go into battle. If this video offended you, just remember there's nothing you can do about it because YouTube removed dislikes ages ago.
True!
If you try to leave a negative comment, you will face the full wrath of my terms and conditions. Only positive feedback will get a cute heart. And most importantly, this video is brought to you by Saley. As an American, you might be thinking, with what's going on in my country, I really want to move to Canada.
That's an ad. Okay. Hey. That's funny. Funny stuff in there. Probably not a good to base your own opinion on it, but funny. Kept it light.